This entire anime style scene was made in Blender and I'll show you exactly how to build it from scratch in this video. Let's start. Alright, so now in a new Blender file, let's start by creating our stairs right over here. So press Shift A, add in a cube. We can press N to bring up the sidebar and then just put in the dimensions. So somewhere around 2.6 for the Y, 0.2 for Z, and zero point 0.3 for the X. Now we have a somewhat stair looking like object. We can go into the modify section and add in a array modifier to duplicate it. Let's increase the Z offset to somewhere around 1, and then we can just push back the X offset on the negative axis like this to create our stairs. We can increase the count to somewhere around 20, and yeah, with that we have created our stairs. You can also add in a bevel modifier to this. Make sure to select the object, press Ctrl A and apply the scale. With that we can just adjust the bevel amount, enable harden normals, and let's just bring it back a little bit inwards like this. Yeah, that's pretty good. Next we can create these like supporting structures that are right beside our stairs. So press Shift A, add in a cube. Let's scale this cube down and bring it towards the left side of our stair. What I will do is I will also add a mirror modifier to this and select the mirror object as our stairs. And now we can select the y-axis so that we can easily duplicate it as well. Now let's press 1 for the side view, press tab, let's enable X-ray, and we can just quickly move this one towards the top like this. And yeah, now let's just adjust them up a little bit, and with that I think our supporting structures also look pretty good. Now what I will do is I will first select this, make sure to press Ctrl A, apply the scale, press tab, and we can select this face, press E and extrude it like this so that we can create like the further structure as well. Press tab, press 3 for face select, and we can just select this face, press X and delete it so that we can like join them together. Enable clipping, hold Alt and select this loop. Now just press E to extrude it. You can press Y to lock on the Y axis and bring it in. And yeah, that's pretty good. I will select my stairs, maybe add one more so that it fits seamlessly like this. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. I will also add in a bevel modifier to this structure as well. Make sure to adjust it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Next, what I will do is I will press 3 to view our model from the front so that we can press Shift A and add in a camera so that it gets added like perfectly aligned in this direction. Press G then Y and move it back. Let's see, I think somewhere around here is pretty good. Let's move it up. You can also press 0 on your number pad to view through your camera. And now basically what I will do is I will first go into the camera settings and just decrease the focal length to something like 35. We can also come over here, enable background images and just select the reference image itself as the background for our camera. I have also added all of the files that I will be using in the link in description so that you can easily follow along. So now that we have the reference image behind our camera this way, we can easily place our scene around. So first let's select our camera, press R then Y to rotate it on the Y axis and just rotate it this way so that it gets a bit flatter, and then we can just press G then Z and move it up like this. We can also rotate it up a bit like this. And now we can just select our camera, press G then Y and move it towards the right side like this. And now you can see we fit the scene much better and we can continue. Alright, so next we can create the bridge like thing over here. So just press Shift plus A, add in a cube. Let's press 7 for top view. Let's place the cube right over here. We can press tab, enable X-ray and just move it till here, and also let's extend it over here as well. Let's press 0 on the number pad to view through our camera and let's move it up. This way we can easily like place the objects around our scene by matching it with the reference image. Also just make sure that you have X-ray enabled over here This way you can easily select all of the objects. Alright, next I will once again press Shift A, add in a cube. Let's place it right over here in the corner so that we can create this pillar like thing. Scale it down. Again press 0 on the number pad to view through your camera. Let's bring it up. Let's move it a little bit on the left. Now just press tab and scale it down like this. I will select them both, press Ctrl A, apply the scale. And also let's select this, press tab, press Ctrl R and add one edge loop over here and maybe one edge loop right over here. Just to add like a small bit of detail, press 3 for face select, hold Alt and select this entire loop. Now press Alt plus E and extrude faces along normal and just push this inwards like this. We can also add in a bevel modifier to this. Yeah, that's pretty good. Next, I will also select this, press tab, enable X-ray and press Ctrl R and add a edge loop roughly around here to once again create like this extrusion. Again, just hold Alt, select this entire loop, press Alt plus E and again extrude. You can also just scale it down on the Z axis like this. Yeah, I think that is pretty good. Let's add in a bevel modifier to this as well. I think it's a bit too much, so I'll scale it inwards once again. Yeah, that's better. Alright, let's have a look through our camera. So we do see like a little bit of an issue where there is like a small space between the stairs and the bridge. So we can just select the bridge, press tab and enable X-ray, select all of this and you can just move it towards the left this way. And you can also just select the bridge, press G then X and move it back so that they do not overlap over here. Press 0 again to view through your camera and now it looks pretty good. I will also select the camera and just rotate it up a bit like this on the Z axis to better match it with the reference image itself. Now you can just press G then Y and move it towards the right like that. Alright, with that I think the stairs and the bridge look good. Let's work on the pillar right over here. So press Shift A, add in a cylinder. Let's scale this cylinder down. Press 3. Let's place it right over here. Press tab and enable X-ray. Press 1 for vertice select and select the top part over here and just move it up. And this way we have our pillar. Just press 0 to view through your camera once again and we can just quickly match it with the reference image itself. So I'll scale it up and I'll press tab, select the top part and just move it right over here and scale it down so that the top gets like thin and the base is like a little bit thicker like this. And with that, I think the pillar also is looking pretty good. You can also go into the wireframe mode so that you can see the actual image a little bit better. Yeah, I think now it fits pretty good. All right, so next we can work on the railings for our like the stairs. So for that, let's just press 3 or 1 for the side view. Press Shift A and go into curve and add in a path. Just rotate this path around according to the slope of the stairs and just place it roughly somewhere around here. Let's go into the object data properties in the geometry section, increase the depth so that we get something like this. Press tab and let's just select these vertices that are in the middle. Press X and delete them. I will select this one, press E and extrude it a little bit. Again, extrude it a little bit and just make it go down like this. Similarly, just select this, press G, then X and press X 2 times to move it in the local direction like this. Move it towards the top. Once again, press E, E once again, and again press E, then X, and move it straight like this. This way, I think we have created our like railings as well. So just move them towards the left like this to match over here. Let's press 0 to view through our camera once and see how they look. Although they do not really fit perfectly with our reference image, but I don't think we need to worry about that. It does not really have to be perfect. As long as it is like roughly matching up, that's fine. And now let's just extrude it over here and just move it down. I'll select both of them, press tab, enable X-ray, and just move them towards the back like this. Alright, so now let's try and make it match a little bit better with the reference image. First, I'll just increase the depth, maybe somewhere around 0.03. Press tab and we can just select this part first. Maybe press G then Z, move it down. Select this right over here, press G then X, move it a little bit ahead. Yeah, that feels a bit better. Let's press 1 for the side view, and it does like skew up a little bit over here. So let's just try and fix that up. All right, I don't think it will get better than this. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. So now let's just duplicate it over to the right side. We can select this, press Shift plus D, then press Y to lock on the Y axis and bring it right over here. Press 7 for top view, and then we can just select this part entirely and delete it. So press X and delete it. Just select this vertex, press G, then Y, and move it on the Y axis like this. We can also select vertex snapping from over here. Press G, then X, hold Control, and snap it with this vertex so that they perfectly like stay in line. Let's press 0 to view through our camera. Let's press tab and move it up just a little bit to match with our camera. I think we can take like a little bit of liberty this way. And yeah, with that, I think our scene is starting to come along nicely. Let's just add these bars now, which are on the side over here. I will also select them both and maybe increase the thickness a bit more. So you can hold Alt and increase the thickness of them both at the same time. So maybe around 0.04. Next, press Shift A, add in a cylinder. Let's scale this down. Like just make it pretty thin. Now you can press S then Z, scale it up like this. Next, we will go into the modifier section and add in a array modifier. You can also use the gizmo over here to like adjust it a little bit more intuitively. And let's place it like this. Just duplicate it now. Make sure it is not poking around like this. So just decrease the value a little bit. Yep, much better. I'll select this, press Shift plus D and duplicate it over this side as well. I think we do have to like put in a little bit of different values because we have like extended this up a little bit. So first let's increase it on the Z like this. And yeah, that's much better. Let's select this once again, press Shift plus D and move it ahead. Set the Z to 0. Yeah, so that they are completely straight. And now just once again increase the count. Let's do the same thing over here as well. Press Shift plus D, bring this over here, rotate it 90 degrees. Let's rotate it minus 90 degrees so that it flips like this. Press 7 for top view. Let's place this right over here. And once again, just increase the count a bunch of times. Again, let's view through our camera. I think we are at a point now we can just turn off the background image as well so that we can actually see our scene. And yeah, I think our scene is starting to look really nice and I'm pretty happy with it. Let's just hit save. And what I will do next is I will select this part. And as you can see, we do see like a little bit of the balcony appearing over here as well. So we can just select these two objects, press Shift plus D and duplicate them and move them to this side. What I will do is I will just select this part, press Tab, enable X-ray, and we can just select all of these extra vertices. We can select this one and delete this as well. Let's press 0 to view through our camera. And I think it looks fine. We can just select this, probably just extend it a bit, press E and then Z to bring it down. And yeah, that's pretty good. Make sure to just increase the number of count over here and also increase the length of this railing like that. Now if we see through our camera, I think it looks pretty good. Let's once again just quickly enable the background. And yeah, I think that's fine. We don't have to fit it perfectly. With that, we are pretty much done with the modeling. Okay, yeah, a couple of things that are left are over here, the pillar. So let's do them quickly. I'll select the pillar. Let's first press right click and shade auto smooth this. Press Shift plus S and cursor to selected. You can press Shift A. Let's add in a simple cube. Move it to the top. Let's just place it like this. Scale it down. Again, press 0. And I think we need to enable the background image. Let's move this down and adjust it according to the reference image. Yeah, that's fine, I think. Again, I will just select this, press Shift plus D, press Z and move it up. And let's see how we can create this one. First, what I will do is I will just press Tab, press 2 for edge select and select this edge and press X and delete the edge itself. Or we can delete the vertices so that we get something like this. Now we have like a similar shape. And I think I will just simply add a solidify modifier to this so that we can give it a bit of thickness. So add a solidify modifier, make sure to just apply the scale, and now we can increase the thickness, enable even thickness, and yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe add a bevel modifier to smoothen it out and enable harden normals. Select this, press Shift plus S cursor to selected so that any of the new objects we add get added right over here. And now we can just simply add a small cylinder to create these parts. Let's move it over to the corner. Again, right click and shade auto smooth this. Let's see. We can press Ctrl, apply the scale first, press Tab. Let's add an edge loop right over here. Select this top face, press Ctrl B and bevel it out. Maybe to give it this type of look. And then we can select this edge. So hold Alt, select this edge, press Ctrl B and bevel it out. Just give it one segment. Press 3 for face select, Alt plus E and extrude faces along normal. I think this is fine. Now we can just select this and add a array modifier so that we can duplicate it. Let's increase the count to 4 and just adjust it properly. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. With that, the only thing left is to create these wires like things. So again, for them, I can press Shift A, add in a curve and select path. And now let's see how we are going to do that. Press 7 for top view. And first, let's just give them a good bit of length. So somewhat like this. Move them up somewhere around here. Now just move them according to the reference image itself. Like let's press tab. Obviously, we need to bring this in a little bit. It does not have to be that far off. See, I'll place this one over here, move this a little bit, and move this over here. And yeah, as you can see, it is roughly matching with the reference image now. Again, duplicate this, place this one like that, press tab, and just move the vertices around so that we can just place them over here like this. Yeah, I think that's again fine. Let's duplicate this one directly. Again, duplicate one another time, maybe rotate it up a bit, and just try to place it with the reference image. And the last one can go over here. And yeah, I think I'm happy with them. They don't have to be, as I said, perfect. They can be roughly similar to the reference image. All right, now we can just select all of them at once and you can go over here, hold Alt and just increase the depth. Obviously, they will be like really, really thin. So let's go with something like 0.02 for now. The only issue that I might have is that all of them are going below the tower. So I might have to select them all and just select this point and maybe move it up like this. Select them all once again and move them above the tower itself. Then we can just rotate them all and kind of place them a bit better. Alright guys, so yeah, now everything is pretty good. They are going above the tower itself and they also roughly match up with the reference image as well. Now we are done with the modeling, so we can finally move over to lighting and adding the background. So let's do that. Okay, so first let's just select our camera and then we can just disable the background image. And now we can move over to the rendered view tab. Let's press Shift A and add in a simple sun lamp. You can just press R then X, then R then Z and rotate it up on different axes to get like a little bit better lighting. We can also go into the object data properties of the sun lamp and just increase the angle over here, which will basically make the shadows a lot softer. Like basically at 0 angle, you will see the shadows are really harsh. But I think for this type of stylized anime style of scene, I will be going for like softer shadows. Also, I will just switch over to cycles and select GPU. You can also render it with EV as well, but I will be using cycles to get like a little bit better lighting. And yeah, I think this looks pretty good. Next, what I will be doing is adding the cloud background. So press Shift A and go into image, mesh plane. And now just select this cloud background too. I have added this within the files that I've provided for this video. So you can follow it along. Just use this one and maybe just rotate it up a bit, rotate it like this. Make sure to move it quite far back and now scale it up. Now you might notice that it looks a bit weird and kind of like washed out. So let's go into the shader properties over here and we can select this, go into object, and instead of plugging this in into the principal BSDF, we can directly plug this into the surface. This way, it looks a lot more brighter. Next, what I will do is I will go over here in the render properties and change the color management from AGX to standard. I think the standard color space works a lot better for these type of scenes. So yeah, I will be going with that. You can also increase the look to medium high contrast. And yeah, that's pretty good. And now I think the overall lighting of the scene is a little bit flatter compared to the like background itself. So you can go into the world shader type now and let's press Shift A and add in an environment texture. So yeah, we will be using an HDRI to make our scene look a lot more brighter and get some like natural colors. You can use any HDRI you want to, it does not really matter because it is not even going to be visible. So yeah, I'll just select one of mine I'll select this one, and already you can see the colors look a lot better. All right, so now you might notice that because of the HDRI added, we do get like a lot of this green color added below our bridge. And if you look in the original reference image, it is like pretty dark over here. So what we can do to fix this is, the reason this is happening is because there is like no ground in our scene. So you can just select your stairs, press Shift plus S cursor to select it, press Shift A, add a simple plane, and just increase the size of it. And now, even though this ground won't be really visible in our scene or in our camera, you can see the effect it adds. Just select the ground itself and now press H to hide it. You can see we get all of this like green color due to the HDRI bleeding onto our models, which does not really look that good. So press Alt plus H to bring your ground back. And yeah, this looks a lot better. All right. Next, what we will do is we can also add like these trees. So press Shift A and once again go to Image, Mesh Plane. And I have added these trees as well in the link in description. So you can download that and get these textures. So let's just place these trees. And I think they look pretty good. I'll just place them right over here according to the reference image itself. So maybe somewhere around here. Just increase the size of it a bit. Let's bring it close to the camera. You can also go over here and enable render region. Basically, this will help you to only show you the region that will be rendered itself and none of the like extra stuff, so that you can only focus on the render itself. All right, that's pretty good. Let's just duplicate this and move it back and place it somewhere around here. Yeah, that's good. Scene is starting to come along nicely. Next, what we will do is obviously add a small bit of outlines. So you can press Shift A, go to grease pencil and just select scene line art, and instantly you will see all of these like outlines appearing. So now go into the modifier section of this, increase the line thickness, and we get something like this. Now this is a bit too much. So first let's try to fix this. Select your line art object and you can first go into the edge types and disable crease threshold. And this will instantly remove like all of these extra outlines. And obviously we need to decrease the thickness. We don't want it that much. I think somewhere around here is pretty good. Next issue that you might notice is that like all these images are also getting this like faint outline. So there is a simple fix for this. Just select them, go over here in the object properties, scroll down under the line art section. You can just change the usage from inherit to exclude. As soon as you do that, you can see no more outlines for this tree. Select this tree as well and go over here and just select exclude. All right, much better. Now we can just come over to our render properties, make sure denoise is enabled and just set the samples to a small number for now, like 100. Press F12 and let's see quickly how our render looks. All right, so this is what our render looks right now. I think I'm pretty happy with how everything is turning out. Next step is to basically add some materials and also just add a bit of compositing for like the finishing touches. All right, with that, let's just close this and start working on the materials itself. First, I will just select my line art object, go into the modifiers and turn it off in the viewport because sometimes it can make it like really laggy. So just make sure to turn it off. And now we can select our stairs. Let's go into the object shader type, click on new, and let's rename this material to stairs. All right, let's change the color to something random for now. And now I basically want this like material to be copied to the rest of the objects. So select them all, this one. And now at last you can select the stairs themselves. Press Ctrl plus L and link materials. And this way you can like copy the material to everything. All right. So now the material itself is going to be like really simple. What I will do is just press Shift A, add in an ambient occlusion node. And basically if I plug this node in, you can control like this shadows. So it will be like a nice addition to the material. Press Shift A, add in a mix color node. Plug this in to the base color and you can plug this into the factor. And now you can change the B color, I think. Yeah, change the B to something like gray or beige, something like this. Maybe somewhere around here. And now we can just make the A color a lot more darker, which will basically be the shadows. And now you can control this from the distance value. Maybe somewhere around here. I think I will make it a little bit less saturated. Somewhere around here probably. Yeah, I think that is fine for the material. Select this one now. Again, click on new. Let's rename this to railings. And again, this can be like some type of green for now. Now just select all of the other railings. And now select this one at last. Press Ctrl plus L. Link materials. Let's change the color of them. Obviously, I will make it a lot less saturated, a bit more brighter. I think something like this would look pretty good. Now we can select all of the cables. I'll probably just press Ctrl J and join them into a single object. Click on new, again create a new material, rename this to cables. And these can be basically just black color. Nothing really too much. We can also adjust now the thickness of them at the same time. Let's play around with this later on. First select our pillar now, click on new, rename this to metal maybe. Just give it like one metallic for now. Again copy it to all the other objects. Select them all. Now select the pillar at last, press Ctrl plus L and link materials. Again for this one as well, I will press Shift A, add in an ambient occlusion node. We can just select the stairs, select this simple setup, press Ctrl C to copy and paste it right over here. Now plug this into the base color. Let's reduce the distance. I'll just set this to 0 completely. Now we can increase the roughness somewhere around here. Yeah, I think something like that is pretty good. Yeah, with that I'm pretty happy with the materials. Let's press F11 to view our like render. Press J and now you can press F12. Basically this way you can render both of them at the same time in different slots so that we can kind of compare them to. Let's wait for the render to finish. And yeah, now the render is done. You can press J to compare between the two. And I think I'm liking how the render is looking. One thing that I'm noticing is there are like not really any outlines on the pillar itself. That's why it looks a little bit weird. So don't worry, we can fix that. Let's just go back into solid shading, and first I will select my camera once again and enable back the background images. So what we need to do is we basically need to place this pillar close to the camera and then the outlines will start to appear. So just select it all, press 7 for top view and just place it right over here next to the camera itself. Scale it down. Now we can once again just match it with the reference image. Yeah, I think that is pretty good. Let's press F11 once again. Now you can press J and press F12 to give a new render so that we can compare the newer and the older one. It's a tad bit bigger than the earlier one, but it's fine. And yeah, you can see the outlines work a lot better now because it is closer to the camera. The outlines are appearing. With that, I think I'm pretty happy with the scene. Overall, we are now done. Now we need to work on compositing to give our scene those final touches. I'll just close this. One other thing that I want to do is, if you can once again see, the bottom part of the bridge is like pretty dark. So we can also do that as well. First, let's select our bridge, press tab, press Ctrl R and use your scroll wheel to add two edge loops. Hit right click and add them in the center. I will just select this bottom face and you can go over here and select extrude manifold and just extrude it inwards to create like this type of structure. And after we have done that, basically what I will do is let's come back to our rendered view mode. Let's just hide the ground for now. Select this, press tab, select all of the bottom faces. So select this, select this one, and these over here as well. Come over in the material section, click on this plus icon, and you can create a new material and just hit assign. Basically now this bottom part has like a separate material, and you can give it like a darker color like this. So I think this way we can much better control this bottom part. So we'll just make it like a tad bit darker like this. Now press Alt plus H to bring back your ground. Let's hit save, and I will just finally give it one last render. So press F12 so that we can render it one last time and then start with the compositing. Alright guys, so the render is done now. I will just hide this reference image for now. Let's close this, come over into the compositing tab, and you can click on this new and go over here in the corner, and you can just divide it like this. You can also remove this part, we don't really need it. And yeah, just change this window from compositor to image editor, and you can select your render result. Basically this way, whatever we do right over here with the nodes, we can directly see the results as well. You can come over here and just press V to kind of zoom out this image. To start off, you can just go in the options tab right over here and select GPU. For some reason it is set to CPU. So yeah, just make sure to set this to GPU because it is a lot faster. The next thing to do is we basically want like painted type of edges, because if you will zoom in right now, we get like these really harsh CG edges which do not look that great. So we want really soft edges. So for that, we will be using the Kuwahara filter. So press Shift A and search for Kuwahara. And you can just plug this into here and plug this one over here. Instantly, you will see that you now get like a lot more softer edges. You can select any of the node and you can just press M to basically mute it, and you can see the difference it creates. And instantly we can see we get like a lot better painted type of feel in our environment. So next you can play around with the size. Basically, if you increase it, it will get more like a painting. If you keep on increasing it, and if you decrease it, it will get closer to the like the real render. So I think the default value of 5 or 6 is fine. So 6 was the default value. Let's go with that. Next filter that I will add is you can press Shift A and search for the posterize node. Basically that helps us to add this type of effect. First I will plug this in directly over here, and it will create something like that. You can adjust the steps and you will get like varied results. If you keep on increasing it, it basically again gets closer to the real render. So we need to keep it at a low number and kind of try to mix it with the Kuwahara filter. So how we can do that? So first we need to add a mix node. So press Shift A and search for mix color, this one, and plug this one into A and plug this one into B and plug the result in over here. Instantly you will see we will get like a mix of these two. You can select the node and press G to move it around. Alright. Yeah. Now basically both of these nodes are being mixed at equal parts. So it is set to 0.5. So half of the Kuwahara and half of the posterize. If you set this completely to 1, it is basically entirely the posterize node. If you set this to 0, it is completely the Kuwahara node. So obviously we want a little bit less of the posterize effect because it is like a bit too much. So I will set it around, let's say 3, to get like this type of vibe going, and then we can just keep on decreasing the factor to a point it is like very subtle. So let's say somewhere around 0.1. Basically what this is doing is, if you zoom in, this is the effect that the posterized node is creating. I don't know if it is that like apparent over here, but you can just select it and press M to again mute it, and you can see the difference it creates. It adds like these different shades of colors basically, which again give it like a painted type of look. Otherwise it will be like completely flat, one single color. But with the posterized node, you can add some of these like effects. And if you want more of it, you can basically start to increase the factor, and you will start to get like more and more of these different like colors and shades. But again, it starts to look like pretty weird. So yeah, I think a value of 0.15 would be fine. Or honestly, I think I would go with 0.1 because it starts to look a little bit weird over here in the sky. So you can then just play around with the posterized value to get like the best type of results that you want to go for. I think somewhere around 3 would be fine. All right, so next we will be adding the glare node that will basically add gloom into our render and give it that dreamy, hazy type of look. So you can press Shift A and add the glare node. Again, plug it in over here. And now you can change the mode from streaks to fog glow. Let's just decrease the threshold to 0 for now and increase the size to 1. And you can see we get all of this glow, but now the scene is pretty overexposed. So you can press Shift A and add a exposure node and now turn this down again to somewhere around here. So now you can clearly see we get like this dreamy hazy type of look. You can select both of these nodes and press M to mute it and basically see the difference. But I think it is a bit too much. If you do like this look, you can definitely go for it. But basically I will increase the threshold to somewhere around 0.6 and again increase the exposure to get like just a little bit of like bloom, not that much. Now I think it is like really subtle. I think somewhere around here is pretty good. So now you can select just all of the nodes, press M and see the difference we have created. Again, it's like really subtle, but it definitely adds a lot to the render itself. You can see now the edges do not look that harsh anymore. If you want, you can even increase the Kuwahara filter a bit to further get that like painted type of look. But it can get like a little bit too much very quickly. So yeah, just make sure of that. I will undo it back. And one thing that I'm noticing is that the wires look like pretty thin now. So we can definitely increase the thickness of them. And also the outlines look a little bit too much. So I will definitely be decreasing the thickness and opacity of those as well. So go back to layout, select your wires and maybe increase the depth to something like 0.013, just a little bit, and select your line art modifier and maybe we can decrease the line radius to 0.008 and decrease the opacity to 0.8 as well. Let's come back to compositing, press J to switch the slots and again press F12 to give it a new render. Alright, so the render is done now and we can just close this, press J to basically compare and you can see the wires are a little bit more thicker and the outlines are a little less dominant than earlier. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. We can add like a couple more effects. Basically, you can add the vignette, press Shift A, search for vignette, and basically it will add these like darkening of corners to create more focus in the center. You just need to decrease this factor, like somewhere around here. As you can see, it will darken up the corners just a little bit. You can also add something like, let's say, if you press Shift A, add the hue saturation node. We can also increase the saturation a bit. You see, that looks pretty good. Yeah, so you can definitely increase it a bit. And you can also add like all of the other normal nodes like brightness or contrast to adjust that as well. I think this already is pretty good. We have made our render from something like this to this, and I'm pretty happy with the overall look of it. Maybe just push back on the contrast a bit to somewhere around 3. You can also add like a bit of chromatic aberration or noise if you want to. Just plug this in over here and you can see we get all of this small noise. You can control it from over here. But I think I will rather keep my render completely clean. So I'll just remove this. You can also add chromatic aberration. Basically, it will create these splitting of edges. It really only looks good if you add like just a little bit of it, but I don't think it will go well with our scene over here. So just remove this as well. So yeah, these are all the different things you can do. Obviously, you can experiment with the scene a bit. And yeah, with that, we are pretty much done. So this is our final render. I think it looks really good. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.